My name's Gloria, and
Hi, Gloria.
I came to England to start living 1974. But my mother came 1961 because at the time I remember there was a big recruiting for getting people to come here from Jamaica. But my dad, who had heard stories that it's a very cold place, he didn't want to come. So my mother left us 4 children and brave enough to come. But she worked really hard because in the first year, I'm the eldest child, and luckily she was able to buy my uniform because it's 61 when she came is the year I was going to start secondary school. So she bought all my uniform, but she didn't see me go to school in September. So I was the eldest, and they decided because I started secondary school, my brother who came after me should come. So my other 3 brothers subsequently came 6 months in because those days people, there was a thing they called partner where each person puts money aside, and somebody had a book, and at the end of the month or whatever, it was somebody's chance to get the money, and that's why my mother, she doubled up her subscription to it, so she was able to get a lump sum and send for my brothers. So they all went to school here, but I went to school in Jamaica. But the nice bit of it was that come holiday times, I was able to come and see. So I got many pictures of them showing me around London. In that time, I think I know more about London than I do living here because they were living here and at school. It was fun for them to say, my older sister is here, let me take her around. And then being the only girl, my mother kept saying she wasn't happy that I was the only one back home, even though I'd done quite well in school and everything. And again, London did a massive recruiting thing for getting nurses to come to, and so I came, 1973 I came for a holiday, and 2 days before I was due to return, my mother said, why don't you go and have that exam? So I went to St. George's in Tooting and did my test, and they gave you English, maths, and I passed. And they wanted me to start for the next set, but it was I had to return to Jamaica, and because by then I'd started working in accounts in the headquarters of the Postal Service in Jamaica. So I came and started training here in 1974 at St. George's. Thankfully I qualified and everything. But it was such I don't know, in Jamaica, we were so grown up with the sunshine and each house you can say that house is mine regardless of how small it is, it's yours. Whereas here the houses were joined and I felt like it was a prison. I felt, the sunshine there, and you could go and pick a mango, some fruit. So it was such a culture shock. And yet I was luckier than many kids because at least my mother had lived in Peckham all her life. And so I was able, when I had my days off, was able to go back home to Danby Street. Every time I pass the road, I say, I remember sleeping in that bed. Yes, so I was lucky. So I had a family unit as a backup. So, in my nurse's home, you could see many girls crying because I didn't have anybody. So, I used to ask my mom, can I take this friend with me to come and spend the overnight? And we go back. So, every time my mother has died, and every time I use every excuse to go to her grave. It's her birthday, if it's Mother's Day, just to say, thank you for being brave enough. You got 4 children, and my dad, who obviously Jamaican rum was number 1 for him. Yeah, and she left us and made the sacrifice, and I'm sure that lady must have cried many a night to send for 3 boys. And even I was neglected because she kept sending me parcels of stuff or money, and I just think, what a brave lady. So she's instilled in me to be independent, to be strong, to have a mind and be looking forward. And you don't know what you're heading into. But if you have that determination, because there's a song said, every generation blames the one before. And my kids have benefited from my mother coming here, because having seen how strong she was, how determined she was. So I got 3 children of my own, and each has done well in their own right. Not because they're special, but because they've seen me work as hard as my mother did. Okay, I didn't have it as tough as she did. I'm not pretending I did. But, I just say for every black woman who had brave enough, because to work and to care for your kids and feed them properly, go to parents' evening, to be there for them when they're sick, I know. So if there's one lady I will hold up to God every day, it's my mother, because I admire her.
Thank you so much for sharing that. There's something about, in what you're saying, there's something about resilience. And that seems to be a common thread, I think, for people who've come over here as well. Was it important for your mum to be in Peckham?
Because she knew a few people from friendships and letters, and she came, and because in those days they shared a house, each, and then they saved, and so my mother was the first one to buy the house in Danby Street, and then the others followed and whatever. So it was lovely, and then we used to have lots of parties because people come because the house belonged to her. People felt comfortable, so we, somebody would cook and we play dominoes and we sing. Sometimes it turns out to be a party. You don't know how it started, but the music was playing. And it was a happy, and I just think
some
that
good
lady,
times,
I have good memories of her.
Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing.
That's what the picture I took here is one of my mother. This is in the same Danby Street house. In those days, it was a thing. See, the photographer. You book the photographer and he comes, and he gives you about an hour and a half. And he comes. Mine is Phil. The name is at the back. So you book the photographer and he comes, and he tells you, say, if you want 6 poses. I've got many of my mother with each son, each brother.
These are your brothers?
That's my brothers, yes.
Is that your mum in the middle?
Yes, my mom. Yeah, she was a tall, elegant lady, my mother, honestly.
I've got pictures like this.
Yes. I just do this. So this is me and my youngest brother.
Yeah. Look at her legs.
My dear. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
This me. And this is me in the same Danby Street.
What was it?
That's me. When I was calling everybody. Yeah.
The minis.
Yes.